So for the longest time, I'd always been taught that ideas are worthless and really it's execution that is king. And what I've learned over the last several years is that that's entirely wrong. That's entirely backwards. Ideas are everything. And I'll explain why. So like I said, for the longest time, the notion that ideas are worthless was kind of drilled into my brain. You know, execution is king, ideas are garbage. And I still do believe this to a degree, especially when it comes to taking the first steps of executing on an idea or beginning to do the work behind a concept. A lot of people get frozen in fear and they think they can't execute. And so they just think and think and think and think. I used to do this myself rather than taking action. So I get the idea behind that. But when it comes to content, it is in fact the ideas that matter the most. And what I mean by that is if you as a strategist understand your audience, you're able to take cultural insights and signals about what they care about and how they best engage, and then you can develop ideas that matter to them. That is 100 times more important than the actual execution of the content itself. And I'll probably have some designers or other people who are upset with me when hearing this, but that's truly what I believe. And the reason for this is a couple of things. This is, first of all, why you see so many creators whose content really isn't all that great, but they have a super engaged audience or they have a very large audience because the audience is more interested in the thought. It's more interested in the strategy. It's more interested in the insight that the creator has to share than it is the technical execution of the content itself. And I've gotten into tons of debates and arguments with designers and executioners over the years who want to make every little thing correct. And I appreciate that about them, but it's just not the focus. It's not what matters when you're creating content on the internet. What matters, and especially the way that our economy has shifted, is that the execution is done and it's done quickly and it's done efficiently and it's done on the right ideas. It's done on the right topics that matter to the audience. I can give you lists of people who prove this case. And that's because execution has become commoditized. If you know what matters to your audience, you can outline a simple set of bullets or record a very short snippet about a topic and then have somebody else create an asset for you that's very high quality. Shout out Simo.com, which I just shared the other day, which was built for this exact purpose, right? Which is to take the ideas that are in a marketer's head, and even if they can't themselves create an excellent piece of content that could go viral, they can find us in this case to make that content for them, right? That's the same thing that applies whether you use us or use someone else. There's tons of resources that can take your idea and turn it into content. The idea, though, you cannot take from someone else's brain. I mean, you can steal someone's, but you need to be able to have that idea in your brain and understand why it matters to your, like if you just steal an idea from a competitor or from a different industry or something like that, and we've talked about that before, I'm totally down with that. But if you just steal it word for word, it's not going to work because you're not talking to your audience about the things that matter to them. You're talking to somebody else's audience about the things that matter to them. So you need to be able to take it and repurpose it for your own audience. So the next time you're overwhelmed by the thought that you have to create a bunch of assets that might be above your pay grade, take a breath, explain the ideas as simply as you can, and then use any of the resources at your disposal, Upwork, Fiverr, 99 Designs, Simo, whatever it is, to turn those ideas into something quality. We'll see you tomorrow.